What's up, y'all? Welcome to today's SLNNN Chronicle. Today is the story of Mr. Magoo and how he's affected my life. Um, Me and Mr. Magoo, we met many years ago. I would say back in 2014, I believe. No, 2012. We went to a school called Mill Creek, and we I think originally we met by a mutual friend at the time. His name was Logan. He was this long-haired kid with really long curly hair, and uh, honestly, the dude was kind of a cunt, and that dude was like really like one of my first friends at that school. But in a way, this guy led me to the promised land, and that was a better friendship ultimately. And his name is Mr. Magoo, is who I met because we sat at lunch together every day. Every day we sat at lunch. We didn't really talk to each other until one day in math class. That was it. We had two classes together. We had math class and we had um, homeroom, I think was what it was. I don't know what the fuck they called it, but homeroom. And one day, I think what made me pull the trigger, because I think we talked at lunch a couple of times. He was a pretty big pizza guy. He only wanted pizza. There was nothing else he fucking wanted. Give him pizza or give him death. That was typically what it was. And one day in math class, I think this is where it began, but he wore a 91 Metallica Sanitarium home tour t-shirt, I think, that he received from his father. And I had approached him and said, "Yo, Metallica's a good band," or something like that. Can you probably name a couple of songs? I don't know exactly what I said. It's been a long time. But I know at the time I was asking anyone that wore a band shirt if they would know, if they knew any songs by them. I asked a girl, what Nirvana songs she likes. Like, Nirvana? I thought Nirvana was that religious thing, and I'm looking at her shirt with a smiley face on it, looking half retarded. I'm like, oh man, I don't know about this one. But anyways, we started talking more in homeroom, and we became a little bit closer. And then one day, it was after December because I remember he got a MacBook from his parents, and he got Logic with it, and he was saying stuff about how he could record music, and I was like, I don't remember how the idea of coming up with a metal band started. I don't know if it was him that started it or me, but one of us were wanting to do a metal band, and we started recording our first song, which was Necrotics. The original version is forever been deleted. It's nowhere to be found because we've, done so much to it. But um, there, it's impossible to find it. But for our first song, I genuinely thought it was actually a decent song. Like, genuinely. I can't use darts. That's funny. Members object cringe is the rune axe. Cool. Um. Anyways, we recorded Necrotics. We and then we did Final War. Final War was probably one of the most insane things that we've ever written in our entire life, and it was just insane. The amount of work we put into it. At the time, we didn't really know how to really mix anything very well. We were getting songs to peak up plus 5 decibels, which was pretty impressive to say the least. But we made it happen, and we were just baffled. We were confused. Like, how the fuck does everything sound so bad? But like, it worked somehow. Shortly after, we started a band with this dude named Adam Rose and a drummer, our drummer Thomas, and we had maybe 3 or 4 band practices together. For the most part, I don't consider those band practices. We had a little band. I forgot the name of it. Dysfunctional, maybe. I'm not sure if that was the name. We might have had a different name, but um, the issue is like after the first setting, and that's my dog. Apologies. Um, he's probably going to do it again very soon, but um, yeah, you can probably hear him in the background right now. He's a baby, so he's crying. But we did this dysfunctional band for a while, and literally every band practice, the furthest we got, I took the beginning intro to a Tout le Monde, and we literally the most music we played in those 4 weeks was maybe an intro and a verse, and that was it. It was me and Thomas. We were the only ones that really did anything, because I think we were just wanting to do different shit, right? There was some of us that were wanting to play Guitar Hero. There were some of us that were wanting to slap box. There were some of us that were wanting to write poems and create videos for the Instagram or whatever. I didn't really care, honestly. I was having fun. I had a good time. And then somewhere down the line, I got kicked out of that band. Not by Mr. Magoo, or to my knowledge, not by Thomas, but by Adam. And I don't really remember the reason why, unfortunately. I just kind of got kicked out. And even though I was not a good guitarist when I was in Dysfunctional, to be fair. I will say that. I literally knew how to play 4 riffs. I knew how to play that. I knew how to play Smells Like Teen Spirit, Breaking the Law, and like a little bit of some Guns N' Roses. That's about all I really knew. But the fact that I got kicked out of a band like that, it made me want to push myself pretty hard because I went from, you know, I was happy that I was in a band, and then I got kicked out of a band that wasn't really doing anything. It kind of sucked on the low. And I don't take it to heart anymore, but for the longest time I did because even though I knew it wasn't on my guitar skill, despite not having any skill at all, I felt like I just did something wrong, right? So over time, we just kept hanging out. We hung out ninth, 10th grade, and we did stuff with Thomas, I think. We didn't really record that much music, but towards the end of 10th grade, things changed because I moved to a different school and he didn't. And there was, of course, since we were, teenagers, we couldn't really go see each other, right? So we had to keep up on social media and all that kind of stuff. Um, so after 10th grade, I kind of, uh, really from 10th grade to 12th grade, really, we just kind of never got to meet up a whole lot. We kept doing, we hung out maybe like once a month or something like that, but um, I think at the time he was busy with Dysfunctional a little bit as well as, I mean, we we were kids, right? We didn't give a fuck about school, but we were just kind of doing our own things. Towards the end of 12th grade, I believe, which was 2016, because not really a lot of dramatic stuff happened in between 10th and 12th grade, really, but towards the end, we started ramping up our work on our first metal album, which hopefully by the time, because I'm recording this video not when the album's been released, but hopefully it'll be out close to or around the time that this is that this video's up. But we were working on that and we got pretty far with it, but we just weren't really there yet. Our production skills haven't really reached the levels that it needed to do. And truthfully, what they were at the time was just rough drafts of songs. But in my opinion, I thought that these songs were fucking awesome. I thought that we actually had something. It was a kind of unique tone almost, but I really thought we had something. Um, and we kept playing, and then it really got really good. Life got really good with me and Mr. Magoo around 2017 when I lived with my two, uh, I guess, best friends at Flat Creek, which is just like a road in a city that's not relevant, whatever. But at this time, Mr. Magoo would, at the end of work every day, would come out of his way to come to our house, which was 30 minutes away, to either just hang out, smoke, whatever, right? Just whatever we wanted to do, we did, and he did that every night for months, really. Thomas would come over. It was really cool, and I had a really great time hanging out. Like it was just nice to be able to do all these things and not have to worry about anything, right? I felt like kind of got somewhere, and while that was partially the case, it also partially wasn't the case. Um, I was struggling at that time with finding a job that I really enjoyed, and it's very hard to enjoy. Um, what the hell's the dog doing? It's very hard to enjoy like a bunch of the things that you want to do when you don't have money, right? And you have to rely on a bunch of people. And that's what it was a lot of the time at the Flat Creek place. I don't know how much Mr. Magoo knows, but literally for most of the time living there, I just like not have a good time. Um, and you would think living with your best friends would be a cool thing, right? But when you learn how they live and all that kind of stuff, and if you have a certain standard, which I did, and then you move in with people that are not up to your standard, it makes you start disliking them a little bit. And I hate to say, like a big part of that is like, why I don't talk to Charlie or Ian or anything like that because it's not fully that, but a big part of it is that like just living with those people made me just really not like it and I really wanted to get away, which led to a couple of years later when I moved to Alaska. Um, I didn't know how long I was going to really be in Alaska for. I didn't have any set plans, but I knew that what I wanted to do as soon as I went up there is that I wanted to come back because I told my friend, Mr. Magoo, that I didn't want to leave forever. I can't do music by myself. It's just not possible. And over the time that I was in Alaska, I did become better as a musician despite not playing a whole lot, but I did learn some scales. I progressed my art, and I started at the very end of the Alaska times. I was writing some ideas down for the second metal album that we'll have out in the future. Those 2 years, not just for him, but for me, I would say were pretty rough. Um, it's not easy being away from your best friend for 2 years. That kind of stuff doesn't really happen unless like you're about to leave college to go to a different city or some stupid shit. But it did happen, and how I personally felt about it when I was coming back is I felt like I lost a lot of trust, really. And I don't know why I felt that way, but I did feel that way for whatever reason I did. And it sucks, losing the trust of your best friend or whatever. It really do. And what I'll say is, when I came back, when I finally came back down 2 years later, maybe like a year and a half, I don't remember the exact time length. But when I came back, I actually thought everything was fine. I really did. Like I didn't know that anything was wrong. I thought that I was happy to be back, and I was just happy to be hanging out with my friend. Really, that's what I was just happy with. But at the same time though, because I noticed that we were hanging out, it was typically it was typically not just me that was hanging out with Mr. Magoo. It was our other friend, which I'm not going to get all into that because we've already, settled that situation. It's kind of the past. But I just noticed that like we were never really hanging out with each other, like just one on one. So we did have a talk about that and all that stuff, and we got that sorted out. And Mr. Magoo explained to me how, um, yeah, like the 2 years that I was gone, it was kind of shitty, and they genuinely didn't know if I was going to come back, which to be fair is understandable because I didn't know when I was going to come back, and but all I knew is that I was going to come back, and for the longest time I really felt a sense of guilt for leaving to go up there, and because I don't know how other people would see it, like as a sense of just getting away from problems, or just wanting like a different like a view on life. But truthfully, I was at that time, between 2017, really since 20, like if I'm being honest, really since like middle school, I've been lost, and I don't know if I could ever really explain that to not just Mr. Magoo or anyone because um, I didn't I did not have the best growing up times of my life, unfortunately, and the way that like I think and all that kind of stuff is just like I it's a very complex way of thinking, honestly, and I had to really grow up based off the people around me. And yeah, it was some rough times, honestly, but we got through it ultimately, and we created in December of 2019. It's either 2019 or 2018. We created an Empyrean, um, and I'm forever thankful that he really gave me the opportunity to do this with him because I think it was something a little bit different for him too because he was recording a lot of I mean he's recorded a lot of things, but he's recorded a lot of rap, hip hop type of stuff, and there's nothing wrong with that, but this was a different challenge. Like this was just actually something else. And now we're at a point where we're doing two projects, Metal and Empyrean. But I'm always, no matter what, going to forever be thankful for Mr. Magoo for allowing me to be a part of his life, especially after leaving for such a long time. Um, no one owes you anything in life, and fortunately, uh, I was given a second chance despite all the, things that happened in our past. But I'm really glad we got through it, and I think genuinely from the bottom of my heart, if I'm going to make it somewhere in music, my best chances of making it in music is going to be with Mr. Magoo, honestly. Um, if I don't understand some shit, he'd just be like, all right, well, let me solve the equation. Command K, Command L, P, R, flex, and then like everything just works out, right? Um, but I'm very blessed to have a best friend that Um, that cares for me, I guess. It's very hard to find a best friend that will care for other people. It's very hard to you know, have friends that love you, that will do things for you. Mr. Magoo's done a lot for me. He's helped me pay my rent before. He's helped me, you know, get through life. He's been there through the rough and the soft things, and those are things I'm always going to really appreciate. Um, that I'm always going to appreciate, and I'm glad that if it was anyone else that I was doing music with at the very start, I don't know if I'd still be doing music, honestly, truthfully, because if I didn't have someone that was like Mr. Magoo, then I would have had like it would have taken me years to even think or even get my own iMac or whatever. Like I wouldn't be thinking. I'd be buying stupid shit. I'd be buying Yu-Gi-Oh cards. I'd be buying WoW mounts, some stupid shit like that. But yeah, um, thank you, Mr. Magoo, for all the years and that we've had together. I appreciate it a ton, man. And just know that I'll always love you, man, as a brother. Even if, there's ever a time that we're not talking or whatever, which I don't really foresee ever happening. But even if we don't, just know that I'm always there for you, man. You've been there for me. I'm thankful for all the opportunities that you've given me. I'm thankful for the time that you've given me. I appreciate you coming to essentially 99% of all the streams, 98% of them. That means a lot to me. You're not required to be there, but yet you do come to almost every single one of them. So I really appreciate that. And cheers to many more years of good music and trying to get out of the dirt, man. The fucking dirt sucks. But one day we'll hopefully get through it, man. That's it for this SLNNN Chronicle. And peace out.